many of you may be wondering, well, where did you go wrong? I actually ran from it. I'm the heathen of the family, as they say. And, you know, much to my father's displeasure, you know, my dad always thought, there's 4 boys, and he always thought, Harold, you're going to be the pastor. You're going to be the one to continue it on. And meanwhile, I'm saying to myself, nope. And I always wanted to, you know, be a lawyer, go to law school. I think that was my calling. I think that's what God called me to be. And I think he saw this bigger purpose. And mind you, I'd never heard of Pryor County before growing up. I'm from the West Coast. I'm from Pasco County, a small town north of Tampa. And the more, you all can probably attest to this, the lessons, the teachings that were instilled in me, going to Sunday school, waking up at the crack of dawn, being at every church event, you know, deacon board meeting, you know, deaconesses, everything, just being in the church and just getting those messages, and you thinking you were ignoring it, and thinking not paying attention, but it was all instilled in me. And then coming up to this moment now, I've had moments in the office where there's been issues that have come up, issues that have arisen, and I thought back to myself like, wow, I find myself reaching back to what was taught to me. I reached back to seeing my father, how he led, and seeing how my uncles, my godfather, who was a bishop, how they led, how they ran the church, just basic things. Things that my father would do in meeting with different auxiliaries in the church, how I implement it now. You know, I meet with all of our divisions in our office and meet with them and try to figure out what's going on. Even the ushers, I would see my father, he'd sit there in the back of the church and he'd meet with the ushers and say, okay, how can I make your life a little bit easier? You know, if it was just to announce at the end of church, please do not throw your peppermint rockets in the food. Things like that. They wanted change across the board. They wanted transparency. They wanted a level of openness with the criminal justice system. Traditionally, before I took office, you know, you never really questioned what a judge did, right? They were almost seen as untouchable, right? Now, people are running against them, right? Before it was taboo to run against a judge, right? Even a prosecutor. It was taboo to even question the practices of a prosecutor, right? It's law and order, keep the community safe. We don't factor in anything else. Well, now we have a world where now our community is demanding much more. We're crying out for transparency. We're crying out for reform. We're crying out for equity in the criminal justice system. You know, as you all charged or you all tasked, right, to save souls, to bring people to salvation, to bring people to Christ. I'm charged as the chief law enforcement officer in Pryor County to keep our community safe. We do have a sheriff. Our sheriff is he's a chief law enforcement officer of the largest agency in Pryor County. But if you look at the statute, you look at the Constitution, you look at the case law, buck stops with me. Any law enforcement officer can arrest someone, and at the end of the day, I make that final determination whether or not we're going to bring charges against that individual. And so it's by that inherent nature and by that inherent role that I have as the state attorney, I am in fact the chief law enforcement officer of the county. And with that comes with a huge responsibility. You know, Dr. King once said that in a real sense, life is interrelated. All men are caught in the inescapable network of mutuality, right? You can't be what you ought to be unless I'm what I'm ought to be. I can't be what I'm ought to be unless and until you are what you ought to be. So what does that mean in the grand scheme of things? That means doesn't matter your race, color, creed, doesn't matter if you're white, black, doesn't matter if you live right here in the west side of Pompano or on the east side of Pompano. It doesn't matter if you live in downtown Fort Lauderdale on East Los Olas, or if you live in Lighthouse Point, or if you live in Sistron. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if you live right here, right down the road. We're all caught up in this mutual web of mutuality, right? Yes, sir.
Is the juvenile and adult drug court part of your diversionary program, or is that something?
They're separate. So, separate. But I will say this: so we have drug courts, right? But we do divert drug cases. Some cases aren't appropriate for drug court, right? For drug court, it's more so for the person that's had numerous drug cases. So, for example, you've had someone that's had numerous possession of cocaine cases, right? That person is not probably appropriate for our diversion program. Diversion program, we want to deal with those people that maybe committed a first time, maybe a second offense, right? Person that has possession cases, that's the person that we probably want in our drug court program to actually get them treatment and help if they want it. First and foremost, you have to want it. We all know that, right? So yeah, same for our juveniles as well. We have to do that balance. We break it up in tiers. We have a tier 1, we have a tier 2, we have a tier 3 based on the severity of the case and the facts of the case. We have programs that are solely focused and based, diversion programs, in treating that child's drug issue, right? If it's a first-time offense, sometimes we'll put in a lower-level diversion program so when they get in and get out. Some kids are like my younger brother, right? He committed one time, you ain't gonna see him again, right? As opposed to me, knucklehead me, I'd probably be the kid to be in there 4 or 5 times, right?
So you have graduated sanctions?
Excuse me?
Do you have graduated sanctions?
Please explain that. We probably described it in a different form or different.
Well, you know, the way
Explain.
drug court works, juvenile and adult, you go into the program, they do have first-time offenders.
Yes.
But if they work the program, it's similar to what you said. The charges is erased.
Yes,
But
that's correct.
if they offend, they go to step 2 sanction and step 3.
Yes, we do. We do have that.
I'd like me to do jail ministry.
Yeah.
And back then, Broward County Jail was the Fort Lauderdale Police Station.
Yeah.
And it breaks my heart that we've gone from that to this massive buildings around here. It's a disgrace, okay, in my opinion. There are people who are hostages, really, in this system. And my concern is, I'm not, some people like street ministry, I'm a guy who did 23 years. And he said when he was in there, they brought education in. And when they brought education, all of a sudden one unit closed, and then another unit closed, and then the state said, wait a minute, we got to stop this education. Really, I think this is a problem, because
It is.
we have to educate.
It is, and so the jail in Broward County, that's under the purview of our Sheriff Gregory Tony. And as you know, the prison system is under the Department of Corrections, state of Florida. But I will opine. I'll tell you this much: the prison industrial complex is rather troubling.
Yes.
Whenever you tie a state attorney's budget, whenever you tie a law enforcement agency's budget to the number of people you arrest, the volume of cases that you have that come in a courthouse, the budgets of our prisons based on the number of bodies you put in, and then you privatize, you have private prisons, and then it becomes a industrial complex,
Yeah,
right?
it is.
And really, the job and the function before was to just put people in there, right? And you have people in there that probably shouldn't be in there, right? People with drug addiction issues, people with mental health issues. That's an issue that we need to have in the legislature. That's a discussion that needs to be had in a broader base. But also, I've always said that we need people at the head of these agencies that understand that. We need a state attorney that's aware and cognizant of the prison industrial complex. We need public defenders that understand that. We need judges that understand that. We need law enforcement officers that understand that. So you're cognizant when you're doing your everyday job. What am I doing? Am I really aiding in this? What am I doing to ensure that if I do in fact send someone to prison, it's because they deserve to be in there and we're doing it for the right reasons. And so that comes with me training my attorneys that they understand that. You don't control the prison system, but you control who goes in there.
Because if he's in that seat, there will be safety, and there will be security, and there will yet still be community celebration. Use them for your love. Let's just find one more baby, guys. I'm gonna sleep all night long. And we give you all the glory, all the praise. God bless this for letting me nurse my child lives. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
State Attorney Pryor, what a great meeting, man. Thank you so much for being here with the community stakeholders and all of the community organizers and our pastors in the community. We want to thank you, man. You were so gracious with your time. You said when you was running that you'd do that, you'd be transparent, and you've been doing that. Got 2 questions I want to ask you based on the meeting you just came out of. One of them, you talked about no longer prosecuting marijuana cases with 20 grams or less, and then you talked about this other transparency program that you had, the Prosecutorial program performance and tracking data, the initiative with FIU. Can you give us a little more detail on that?
Yes, no, well, first of all, thank you to Faith in Florida. Great work that you do, and everything that I do is in line and in step with what you believe in your core principles and beliefs. it was important for me as an office and as a state attorney to try to reverse the course of criminalizing people, black and brown people, for low-level offenses. And one of those offenses was standalone possession of cannabis cases, which are misdemeanor levels, possession of cannabis 20 grams or less, and standalone possession of drug paraphernalia cases. And so we made an announcement that our office will no longer prosecute those standalone cases. We felt that it was important based on resources, limited resources, both in our law enforcement agencies and our state attorney's offices, and also the growing public approval of the use of cannabis for medicinal purposes and recreational usage. But mainly because of limited resources. It costs a lot of money, exorbitant time and resources to try these cases, to prosecute these cases. And so we felt that it was in the best interest of our county and our circuit to no longer prosecute those standalone cases. And so we're noticing a change, we're noticing a trend. We're better and a safer community for it. And this policy change hasn't affected the safety of our community in a negative light. So I'm excited with this policy. It was the best first step forward, and I want to thank the community for their support in this.
Yeah, give us a little detail about the FIU initiative with the Prosecutorial dealing with the data. You're tracking it, being very transparent in that area. When you talked about that, the community went wild in the meeting. Can you just give us a little more detail about that?
Yeah, so my office, we've joined a select few of district attorney's offices, prosecutor offices around the country and in the state to join the FIU Prosecutorial Performance Indicator Project in partnership with the University of Chicago Loyola. And so what this will do will create a public-facing dashboard where members of the community, anyone that lives down the street, can come to our website soon before the end of the year and look at any given offense or crime that's prosecuted in our circuit. You can look across demographical lines, whether it be race, socioeconomic status, zip code, location, and you can see how we're prosecuting cases and if we're doing it fairly. Are we prosecuting this demographic of people more than another demographic? This will allow the community to look at this data in real time, hold me accountable, but also allow me to hold our office accountable in our day-to-day practices in trying to keep our community safe. This is in line with what people have been asking for, been crying out for, not only in Broward County, but throughout the country, for openness and transparency in the prosecutorial process, but not only in the prosecutorial process, but in the criminal justice system as a whole. And so I'm excited that we're giving an opportunity to our community to be wired in, to be looped in what we're doing, and to hold us accountable, and actually for me to hold ourselves accountable. So we're doing the people's work. So we're keeping our community safe, but also restoring justice, fairness, and equality in our criminal justice system.
State Attorney Pryor, man, we thank you so much. You're always so gracious with your time.
Thank you.
And you talked about in there having the pastors open up their doors so that you and the public defender's office can come in. Just could you touch on that initiative a little bit and ask the pastors, because we're going to be putting this out live and we want them to be able to hear it straight from you, sir.
Well, I want all the pastors in Broward County to please be willing to open up their doors to myself, the State Attorney, Harold Pryor, and also our public defender, Gordon Weeks. We plan on touring the county, reaching out to our faith-based initiatives, to our churches, their congregations, and we want to educate the community on bail reform, how we can initiate this change, and how we can expose the gross inequities of the cash bail system, and also to see how we can reform it to keep it safe in Broward County, but also to make sure that our community is safe. And so I'm looking forward to having an informed discussion with our community, where myself and Public Defender Gordon Weeks will be informing the community on the cash bail system, how we can reform it, and also to get input from you, get input from our faith community, because at the end of the day, you're the core, you're the center of our communities, and you can help us initiate these changes. So we're going to be doing this soon. My office will be reaching out to any church that will have us, so myself and Public Defender Gordon Weeks can come and have these important discussions with our communities.
Mr. State Attorney, you're always so gracious with the time, and we love you, and we respect you, and we appreciate all of the great work you're doing in our community.
Thank you. Keep me in your prayers.
Yes, sir. God bless.